Alright, today I'm talking about my new rank 3, which is Captain America Sam Wilson. So I got this guy for my season rewards. I maybe picked him over Hercules Awakening. I hope Karate Mike doesn't watch this because he's probably going to get really upset at that. But yeah, I absolutely love this guy. He is such a fun character. His utility is amazing. Like, there is so much utility to get into that this, 12-minute video won't even cover all of it. Won't even cover like half of it, basically. But there's just so much this guy can do. I think he's really fun as well. And if you put on full synergies, his damage output is so fun. It's so good when he has full synergies. But like right here, I have full synergies in this Realm of Legends fight, but throughout the whole video, I will not be running the same team because the same team isn't as practical as you think. So, like, in the rest of the video, I'm going to be running, like, a really practical team, you know, it's just him, Captain America Infinity War, because their synergy is, like, really, really good. He gets a Fury every time you parry, and it caps out at 5. And then I'll be running Nick Fury and Double X Force for obvious reasons. So, this fight is going, like, really well. You can see we're doing really good damage, especially on, like, the SP2. The power sinks are helping as well. The physical vulnerability, it's just all coming together. And it just makes for, like, a really, really good fight time. I believe the final fight time was 121. Yeah, right on the spot. Alright, now we're here in the Eternity of Pain. This is the Bishop matchup. And I know my showcases have been, like... Oh, this isn't a showcase. Like, I do want to do a full showcase on this guy, just because there's, like, way too much utility to cover in, like, one video. So, I know, like, my... I guess reveals have been a bit more out of the ordinary, you know, like I took Gallon to the Gauntlet, I'm taking Sam Wilson into Eternity of Pain, and he's going to go into the Gauntlet as well. But honestly, I think I enjoy it more because, like, that's more relevant content right now in my opinion. So, yeah, do let me know, like, your thoughts on, like, me taking new champs into, like, the Gauntlet, into Eternity of Pain and all that. But yeah, this Bishop matchup is really interesting. It's, like, really, really interesting because Sam Wilson is really good for Bishop because you have a ton of armor up, so you can just, like, block the SP2 with ease. You never give him prowess because he's a tech character. And Sam Wilson is purely physical damage, so you don't have to worry about, like, Bishop getting prowess because of that or, like, doing his overload thing. So Sam Wilson is, like, a really strong counter to Bishop. He also has the Bulwark, so you don't have to worry about, like, taking too much block damage from the special attack too. The only thing you have to worry about in a Bishop matchup with Sam Wilson is that, like, don't let him throw the SP1 because Sam Wilson doesn't have, like, any immunity to Incinerate, so he'll just get, like, pretty wiped by that. But yeah, this is a really smooth fight so far. I got all my SP2s unlocked on, and they're doing some pretty nice damage. And now I'm just going to try to bait out his SP2 here, which I did block, and I didn't have that many armor up, so it ended up doing some damage to me. So a bit unfortunate, but still the fight's going really smooth. I think we're making some pretty good time as well. Sam Wilson, for being a slow character, is doing this matchup pretty fast, I would say. Like, this is a 700,000 health Bishop, I believe. Yeah, I think it's, like, around 700k health that this Bishop has. So now I'm waiting out the meltdown timer just to, like, make sure that I don't have to take the damage because I need to get some SP2. And yeah, like, he's making such good time, man. Like, he really is. And I think one more SP2 sends him off. Yep. That was a really, really smooth fight, in my opinion. Like, really smooth. And that was only 212 as well. So that was, like, a really good time for Sam Wilson. So now we are in the Gauntlet. This is the Gauntlet Terrax. And honestly, I'm only showing the partial clip because A, it's a long fight. And B, I do want to show this, like, by itself. Because I feel like this is a really entertaining cheese fest. So what's going on here is that I have the Captain America and the Vision synergy. And what this does is every time the opponent launches a special attack, they get drained for all of their power. And usually this isn't as effective as, like, you think, but versus Terrax, it is absolutely effective because it fully drains him, and then his rock field just turns into nothing. So it's a really good synergy, like, for things like this, like for Terrax, and it only works for Terrax because Sam Wilson isn't a metal character. Terrax is immune to power control from metal characters, but Sam Wilson is not a metal character. I think it has to do with like what his suit is made out of. So that's why Sam Wilson works for this. Like only like 3 or 4 tech characters work for this like cheese. I think it's Yondu, Star-Lord, and Rocket Raccoon, and now Sam Wilson. And Sam Wilson is obviously the best out of all of those, so that's why I picked him. Because he can take a ton of more fights on the gauntlet as well, which I will show sometime in the future. So yeah, that was a really good fight by Sam Wilson. I'll reveal the full time when I upload the full solo. So now we're back inside the gauntlet, and this is the gauntlet vision. And this fight is also kind of a cheese fest because with Sam Wilson's SP3, you special lock him and you like get a ton of sap charges, so you're always power draining him. And so he can never throw the special attack 3 because he'll never have 3 bars of power unless you're like hitting him, but you can't throw it while you're hitting him. So it is like just a really controlled matchup. It's a really safe matchup in my opinion. I feel like he is definitely one of the safer options, and he doesn't need any synergies for this like interaction as well. This is just like base Sam Wilson. So it's a really, really good fight. It's a bit lengthy, I guess you could say, but like pretty much any gauntlet fight is, unless you're using like Archangel or Hercules. So yeah, this is a really smooth matchup. I did get hit there, so maybe it's not as smooth as I thought it would, but it's fine. I just keep repeating what I'm doing, just like going for the light attacks, going for the sap charges. I almost ran out of sap charges there, which is quite worrying, but I ended up getting enough to like power gen him again. Which, that's what I love about the SP3. So the SP3 gives you a precision, and while that precision is up, you get like a bunch of sap charges, I believe. So it's really useful. It's a good way to power control, and plus you special lock the opponent as well. And yeah, like you just keep spamming the SP3, so that's why I had to turn on the skip button, because like it was getting annoying having to sit through all of them. But yeah, this fight is basically almost over. You just keep hitting him. I threw the SP1 thinking it would KO, but it doesn't, but that does. So that was a pretty smooth fight overall. Sam Wilson is a pretty good counter for that as well. Now we're back into the usual like Act 7 nodes. So this is a Havoc on Paradox. That part really isn't important. I just want to show how good Sam is versus Havoc because of 3 things. 1, he doesn't crit, so you get way less plasma. 2, he has a bunch of armor ups. And 3, he can power drain, so he can remove all the charges. So all these things just make for a really good time versus Havoc. And plus he's mutant as well, so like Sam Wilson just gets like a huge advantage. And additionally, Havoc has energy resistance, but he does not have physical resistance. And Sam Wilson is a purely physical character. Like, that's crazy to think about, because like even though Sam Wilson has like a bunch of like energy effects, he's like all physical damage. But that's like a good mechanic in my opinion, because there's a lot of mutant characters that have like a bunch of energy resistance, you know, so I think it's good that he's like a purely physical champ. But yeah, Sam Wilson's making pretty good time here. I'm kind of not controlling my Paradox that well, so that's kind of problematic, but all in all, this is a really smooth matchup. He's a really, really good Havoc counter in my opinion, because his armor ups are like permanent as well. Like they do disappear after the SP2, but you can like just get them back really, really easily. And I kind of messed up the parry, so I lose my Furies, but it's fine since the fight is almost done anyway. I think I just need 1 more SP2 and the fight's over. Yeah, look at that. Pretty nice damage output there. Alright, now it's time to talk about what I think is probably the most important ability Sam Wilson has. And this is every time you intercept the opponent or you do a heavy attack and you have an armor up, you trigger a bulwark. And while this bulwark is active, you reduce the opponent's ability accuracy by 100% when they hit your block. So as you can see there, the masochism node is on this matchup, right? But you can't even realize it because the bulwark node is like reducing his ability accuracy. And I'm going to pull up an infographic here made by Ink and his friends. I forgot their names. I'm sorry, but like I'll credit their names in the picture as well. But it shows just how many things that this ability counters, and it counters so much. It really does counter so much, and it's such a good ability because like it's just so useful, you know? There are so many nodes in this game that like trigger because they hit into your block. like kinetic transference, masochism, bubble shield, defective defense, hard knock life, like all of that just triggers whenever you hit his block. But now that won't happen, you know, it can counter some champs' shrug off as well. Like, it's just a really useful mechanic, and I'm gonna show partial like clips of it here. I can't show like him countering every single thing that he does because that'll just be like a really long video, and I'll save that for a future date. But yeah, really smooth matchup here, thanks to him just completely countering masochism. So yeah, just a really good matchup overall for Sam Wilson, I believe. And he also did that in a pretty good time as well. So last but not least, we have this bubble shield matchup. This is just like another good example of the bulwark ability. So we're gonna take a parry in the beginning. Right there, you see we got the bubble shield thing up. So like that's always annoying, you know. Bubble shield is really annoying to deal with. But now we have the bulwark active, right? So we're gonna go for another parry, and we don't trigger it again. So it's just like such a useful ability, man. Like, it works for so many things, like literally so many things. And then he has so much utility outside of that as well. You know, like he has a no crit, he has a power drain, he has a ton of armor ups. He just really does a lot. And I feel like his damage output isn't even as bad as people say it is. Like, look at the SV2. The SV2 was so good, man. Like, I really love this character. I feel like he's so underrated. And I just cannot wait to showcase him more, man, because he's worthy of it. He is worthy of a showcase. He is a great character, in my opinion. Like, I really misjudged this character at the beginning of the year when I was doing, like, my ranked tier list for the new champs. Like, I really did him dirty, and I'm going to redo that list just for him because I feel like he is actually worth a ton now. So, all in all, I think this character is amazing. Like I said, a really strong champion, really a utility-packed character that can do some pretty decent damage, but he kind of needs the recoil masteries for that, and he kind of needs the Captain America synergy for that as well. And this guy might be my next rank 4. Emphasis on the might. He might be. Like, there's a lot of options, but like maybe I take up this guy just because I really like the character. I really like his abilities. I like his animations. That's like a big thing when it comes to rank 4s for me. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on Sam Wilson, and that's going to be it for me.